Welcome back to another Timeless Tuesday. Today, my special guest is Cade and Butera.
Thanks for having me,
Hey,
Cade.
thank you.
Nice to finally meet you. Just kidding.
Well, yeah, we've met before, obviously. Caden is a special one,
Thanks.
and we're just going to get straight into talking about you.
All right. Okay.
So, is there a certain way you'd like to jump into the intro?
Ooh.
Music?
Oh, you have intro music?
Yeah. Like, I got an intro,
Okay.
so then...
I'm just play it. I'm ready.
Okay, go.
Oh, you're not asking me that question?
Oh, you wrote that? I was like so confused. I was like, did I write that down? I was so confused. I can't believe you actually put that in there.
When Cade left, I noticed he had a couple of questions you wanted to ask me, so I changed the first one to, how much do you weigh? Because that's a good idea.
How much? Yeah, there we go. Lay it out all on the line.
427. Thank
Nice.
you very much. No,
That's a pretty good weight. Though.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
It's a little lower than I wanted, but I'm working on it.
That's what I'm working on. So, I mean, my first question is, how are you as a person?
Well, it depends on who you ask.
Okay.
But I think I'm all right, you know?
All right.
So should I just talk about a little context of like who I am or what I do or
Yeah.
Okay.
Go
so,
for it.
I am a local film director in the area. I have a production company called Paradox Studios, and we do commercials, photography, and narrative films. My passion is with narrative storytelling, so commercials and photography, those are all fun, but being able to tell a story, specifically a fictional one, is my favorite type of thing. So, I mean, I met Cade because he reached out to me and asked if he could be a part of the filmmaking process.
That's right.
And I was like, no.
Yeah.
But eventually he convinced me.
Yeah,
to do it.
I convinced him.
Right, no.
Yeah.
No, the moment he reached out, I was like, absolutely, because we're always needing help on set, and after working with him the first time, I was like, this guy's pretty cool. And we've been working together ever since.
Yeah, it's been about 2 years, I think, now, right?
Yeah, 2 months more like, but yeah,
Oh, okay.
2 years sounds better.
Yeah.
So, yes.
Well, that's good, though. And you're staying busy, right? You have a bunch of...
It's been pretty, I mean, we have a lot of exciting stuff always coming around. If we're not doing something at this moment, we have like 4 other things like next month type of thing. So we have a feature film that we're working on that we plan on shooting this summer, which I'm really excited about. We did a crowdfunding thing for it last year.
I think you told me about that.
Yeah, it's gonna be wild. It's gonna be terrifying and scary, but I gotta start somewhere, so I'm gonna jump into it and see how it goes. And then we did, of course, our last short film was Moon Knight, which is a fan film superhero movie, which I think you talked about on a podcast or 2 ago. And we're going to jump right into the next one, which is also another superhero movie. This one's going to be a comedy. So, yeah, always have a lot of stuff juggling around, for better or worse. But it's always busy and it's always fun most of the time.
Yeah. For your wedding, do you do weddings and different stuff like that? Do you do that how do you put that into your schedule?
Right. Well, I mean, my schedule, how it works right now, because I used to work for a marketing company being their videographer, but now because I'm working for myself, my schedule is super flexible. So I basically am, I'm always working on editing something or editing a photo shoot or something like that. But as far as actual gigs, my schedule is completely random. So I might have a whole week off and then 3 gigs back to back, because you never know. I mean, people don't get married only on Wednesdays at 4:00, you know.
Yeah, good point.
It's completely random. So my schedule is kind of always all over the place. But because of that, it lets me do things like, if you text me, hey, can you be in my podcast? I'm like, you know what? Yes, I'm free for the next 4 days. It's kind of nice.
Do you like one thing for me when I'm doing, like, I mean, I've done this YouTube stuff for probably about a year now, more.
Nice.
And thanks. And like, publicity is like the biggest thing for me. Like, I just need to get out there.
Right.
But for you, How do you tackle that as a person? I mean, do you take every experience as you have as like?
Are you talking about like marketing, trying to get the word out on stuff? I mean, it is a challenge for sure, especially for you and I are a bit like the little guys right now. Neither of us have like 1 million subscribers. We weren't born into a celebrity family, and exactly. Most people out there, aren't. So, finding ways to make stuff and then actually get it seen is always a challenge. I mean, basically how I go about it is I basically use the free things that are in front of me, like social media, YouTube, Facebook. Those are all free mediums to get yourself out there and just post things that I think are cool and hope that other people think it's cool. And hopefully, if I think something cool, there's an audience for it, for people to like it as well. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I know there's always, like, post really clickbaity things or do something that maybe you don't like, but the rest of the world does. Like, that's not really being true to yourself, per se. Not. It works, but it's not really a genuine way to market yourself. So, whenever I try to, pimp something out, I'm going to do it, my attempt at a genuine way of doing it, if that makes sense.
And I think, I mean, I respect that because I do that too as well. I don't really release. I mean, some stuff I do, but like most of the time, I just release stuff the way I want it. And if it hasn't turned out before, I don't release it.
Right, yeah.
And I think that's important to keep as you pursue your career, because I think a lot of people can get lost in doing something that they don't actually like just because it gets some views, and then they later on like realize it's not.
Right. I mean, at this point in time, and because both of us are creative artists, whether we're good or not is up to people to tell us. But we're both artists in one way or another, and we are not, at this point in our careers, we don't have a studio breathing down our neck. We don't have a big boss telling us what to do. We should take advantage of that and do whatever we want. Because, think about it, if we were both working for Paramount Pictures right now, we would have our producer saying, hey, shoot this movie this way and shoot it because I said so. Yeah. We don't have that. We're our own producers. Yeah. So if we want to make something, we better freaking make it while we still can before we have someone telling us what to do,
And that's, no, I totally agree with that.
Thanks.
You're welcome. You are a celebrity, though.
Am I?
Yes. I believe in that because...
I'll take it.
Because when you look up on Google, you come up right away.
Yeah, that's
like it's
not
bad. You.
Yeah, I mean, half of it's having a unique sounding name. Yeah. And then the other half is all the tweets I posted in like 9th grade. Those help too. but yeah, I'll take the celebrity thing.
I mean, I think it is, though. There's like a lot of articles out there. I mean, you just did an interview with, what was it?
Sci-Fi, The Wire, and whatnot? Or
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in the last project we did, which you worked on, Moon Knight, we were fortunate enough to get a lot of publicity.
Yeah, that was
Sci-Fi and Screen Rant and comicbook.com wrote a bunch of stuff about us.
There was Krypton Radio, Gizmo, Screen Geek too.
Right.
I saw Fan Movie
all
Watch.
The screens.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was exciting, and I didn't know if that would actually happen or not. So it's nice when most of the time our lives are like hoping that something good will happen, knowing that it won't. Yeah. In this case, it actually kind of did.
It actually happened,
that was a refreshing change. I won't expect it next time.
Yeah.
But it was a surprise. That was a pleasant one.
Yeah. You got to go bigger next time now, which is going to be harder because
yes, this is true. Yeah. It's scary though, because I've never actually made things and actually had an audience that were ready for the next one before. So now that we have a bunch of people in the comment section, because we have like 600 plus comments saying like do a sequel or something like that. Now I actually have some people out there who are expecting a bigger, better version of what I did before, which is kind of scary.
Yeah.
So I'll just like add some nudity and we'll be good.
There you go. No, it's perfect.
Right? That's what gets the clicks.
Yeah.
I'll probably do a face reveal at the end of that one too.
Okay.
The thumbnail will be like a picture of me crying, and it'll say like my story.
Yeah, perfect.
And then we'll probably get treble name out of views.
And then you could do Draw My Life during it.
Right, yeah, that's an old thing now. Isn't that like 2013
that was
YouTube trends? Those are good though.
When that came out, I was like, should I do one? Like, wait, I'm not even old enough to do it. Like,
yeah. When those were a big thing, I had like 14 years of life.
Yeah,
I didn't have
exactly.
enough experience to put into an illustration yet.
No.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
Maybe we should do it right now. No.
It just cuts to us.
What are we doing here? Wasting our time with this podcast when we could be drawing our lives.
Yeah. I don't know. We should really think about that.
It's true. So yeah, that was kind of a long-winded way of answering that question.
No, you're good.
What's the next one?
Next question. Well, kind of your purpose. Not really a question.
Still
it's more of
that.
like, yeah, me too.
Wait, you have to have a purpose in life?
No.
Damn it.
No, I want to know.
Like my mission statement as like an artist, as a person, or?
Yeah, somewhat. I've read some articles on you.
Oh, really? Look at that.
But like, it's always the same stuff. Like where you were really interested in movies as a young kid.
Right.
But like, really, what got you? Like, what made you pick up a camera and do it?
Right. I mean, I was kind of born into a pop culture loving family.
Mm-hmm.
And my our first house that I grew up in had a home movie theater, and my parents also took away cable television because they I don't know why, they thought it was bad, or I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know, they were dumb, okay? No.
Your parents are actually really cool.
No, they are very cool. They're very supportive and awesome, and if they're watching, which they aren't.
But if they were, hi.
Right, yeah, but they took away cable television, meaning that my main way to entertain myself, and it clearly wasn't sports, was to watch movies, because I didn't have TV, I didn't have Cartoon Network or whatever kids watch these days. So like movies was what were the main thing I turned to. Mm-hmm. And as soon as I was able to figure out, I had a cousin who
sorry about that.
I had a cousin who did movies, or like made movies, and he was like I don't know, a couple years older than me. He came over to visit one time, and I was like, you can make movies? They're not just like magically there. Like that, it's a thing that someone else does.
So you were like,
yeah, I was like, that's a thing that you can do and get paid for it. So when I was like 8 years old, I got a camera and just started making movies. And of course, the moment I started, they all turned out great.
Yeah.
No. I made bad film after bad film.
Yeah.
That's what you got to do. And hopefully, I'd like to think that they've gotten a little better over the years. But I mean,
actually, they have. You want
Thanks.
No, seriously. So I was in the hall. I don't remember the day, but I was in the hall, and
the hall. Oh, like
at school. Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Gotcha.
And I was telling this person about Moon Knight, and they were like, "Yeah, I've heard that like Caden, his work has just advanced so high now. Like you've never put anything out like that." And I didn't really know because I've never. I mean, I watched some of your YouTube stuff, but I've never seen
right.
So the process, and like people said that, and so
that's good to hear. I really appreciate people who say that. I mean, you basically, if you're gonna start trying to do anything, you gotta start and fail over and over and over again, and eventually, hopefully, evolve.
Yeah.
So yeah, when I was 8, I started making movies and basically never stopped. And here I am today, and I'm quitting right now.
Now's the time that you you come on. Caden is quitting. Everything you worked for is gone. What about writing, script writing?
Yeah, so I mean, my main thing is I'm a director, so I want to direct. But the more and more I do this, I'm kind of more a writer and director.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not really great at either of those right now, but the goal is to get good at them.
I think you're good at.
Well, thank you. I mean, I'm not where I'd like to be. Yeah, basically where but writing and directing are two main things that I really want to pursue. And I would never do one or the other, I don't think. I think at this point in time, I like directing things that I've written for the most part, and I don't think I'd ever write something that I wouldn't direct, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's also the same thing. I mean, my first script was utter garbage, and then now it's a little less garbage, hopefully.
Yeah.
and you just gotta, and hopefully from 5 years from now, it's even less garbage, and all the way until the day I die.
Would you ever direct, and like something that you did not write?
Yes. At this point in time, not. I mean, yes. The answer is yes.
Yeah.
It just has to be something that I really have to, believe in and want to bring it to life. Because, I mean, to be honest, when it comes, someone gives me a script, even if it's a good script, my heart isn't 1,000% in it unless I know the person personally and they want my collaboration with the script too.
Okay.
For example, Stephen Morton, who's the
Yeah.
super talented local actor in the area who I've worked with a couple of times. He wrote a script, and I love working with Stephen. He likes working with me, so I've been told. And he basically he said, like, I wrote this. I want you to tell me everything you like about it, everything you don't like about it, and I want you to treat it like your own and make it come to life. And told me he wanted me to direct his script under those conditions. And that being said, I was like, yes, 1,000%. But as far as just blindly directing something that I haven't written and actually it being a passion project, I really have to have a lot of buy-in to the script, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I can see that.
Yeah. And of course, that'll change over time. I mean, I'm very young right now. Hopefully, I continue to do this forever.
Yeah.
So this is early me saying that at this point in time. But it'll probably change. I expect 10 years from now, if someone comes up to me and I'm like actually like decently involved in the industry, hopefully, and someone has an amazing script, I'll probably be like, yep, let's do it. But at this point in time, living in this local small area, that's where I'm at. Yeah.
What? So I know you like sci-fi.
Yeah.
But is there something? So is there certain directors? What?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
I was just following you.
Okay. Are there certain directors for like sci-fi, comedy?
Right.
Or can you like? I mean, I assume you can dabble in all of those, but like.
Right. I mean, it seems like directing. Just about any artistic profession where you are getting hired to do the next gig, you can get typecast into it. When I say typecast, most people think acting. Like, for example, if you were in a movie as an action hero and then you did a kick-ass job, the next people in Hollywood who are writing the action movie will be like, who's a good action person? Cade will be.
Okay.
And then you're in that one. And
I saw Tim was talking about.
Right, yeah. And then the one after that, people will be like, who's a good action person? Oh, Cade, he was in these two things. He'll be good for this third thing. Next thing you know, you're in all of them. Same thing can happen for directing. Like, if you directed a movie that was romance, just because maybe it's not your thing, but you said, like, yeah, it's a good paycheck, I'll do it, and you did a good job. Say Universal's looking for a director for their next romance, they'd be like, hey, Cade did a great job on that last one. Let's bring him on to this one. Next thing you know, you're stuck directing romance movies. Okay. And that's how it can kind of happen. With if you look at a director's portfolio, it's like that comedy director ended up doing comedy after comedy after comedy, even though he's actually a really good dramatic director. Look at Adam McKay. Do you know who that is?
No.
He directed he directed like Anchorman 1 and 2, and Step Brothers, all these Will Ferrell movies. He directed the Oscar-nominated movie, The Big Short, and also Vice last year, which are not really comedic. So, I mean, people can get stuck in ruts in their careers, but then venture out and do anything they want to do. So I want to be that guy. Yeah. But you never know what's going to happen. Yeah. That's the goal, though. I love sci-fi and I love action, but I like comedy. I like this, and that, and I could
just put your foot into everything.
Yeah, I want to kind of dabble in anything, and I don't know if I want to be. Some people like Michael Bay knows where he's at and loves where he's at. He's clearly an action director and doesn't want to leave anytime soon. And you can see it because one time he tried to make a meaningful historic drama called Pearl Harbor, yet he shot it like an explosive, exciting action movie, and it didn't go over well. So like people like Michael Bay knows he's in it for action, but me, I haven't made that decision yet, and I don't know if you have either.
No.
I want to do whatever is a good story, and then maybe later down the road I end up doing more crime movies or more blah blah blah. But at this point, I have no idea. I really don't.
I think, I couldn't imagine you'd pick now. I mean, unless you really had,
Right. Yeah.
But I think it's good to dabble into everything because you can figure out what.
Yeah. I
right
mean,
for you.
that's how. I mean, Sam Raimi got started with his cult classic like horror movies, and then he went on to direct the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies. So I mean, you can have you got to start somewhere, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that's what you don't have to choose right now and then get stuck doing that forever and ever and ever. That's why in industries like this, you just got to say yes to any opportunity for the most part. And that's the way I've been trying to tackle things. Based off other smarter people who told me that.
Yeah.
I didn't come up with that myself.
So how did, another thing is too, like, working on set with you and everybody else, like, it's a blast.
Thanks.
And we filmed behind the scenes for this thing that's coming out.
That's right. Yeah.
It's low right now. But May, isn't it? Comes out.
Yeah, May 4th is when they're doing a screening for a timed film competition. We just finished like yesterday.
Yeah.
It's called the 50-hour slam, and it gives you 50 hours to write, shoot, edit, and submit a 6-minute or less short film. So it's stressful, but it's fun.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And this time in particular, when it was great.
Yeah.
Because I basically chose people like you, Ben, Tim, Steven, basically I chose everyone who I wanted to work with, who I knew would be good, and basically made a power team that I thought could do it, and we did it.
And that's what I was gonna add on to. Yeah. Is like the people, like the people are so good. And
yeah.
Pavel was talking about this, or Pavel. I can't.
Pavel. Right. That reminds me. I was in Starbucks right before I came here, and someone was talking about Thanos from Marvel. I was like, you idiots! Sorry.
Did you talk to him?
No. Honestly, this is a probably stupid nerd thing that maybe just applies to me, but I cannot stand listening to someone talking about something else incorrectly, and I don't know them, and I'm not allowed to talk about it. Like, I was listening to him talking about Thanos and, like, misquoting the Avengers, and I was just wanting to be like, excuse me, sir, let me correct you. But I knew that would be wrong.
Yeah.
But sorry, continue.
No, you're good. Paintball. So he was saying this in Chili's. He was saying that, like, the team that we have is like a family.
Yeah.
And I like that because basically my question is how'd you find those people?
Right.
Because
it's like trial and error, basically.
Yeah.
Because if you would ask me, hey, can I work with you? And I was like, sure. And then you showed up and you were a jerk. Yeah. I'd be like, all right, see ya. And then I wouldn't have asked you to be on it again, you know? It's basically, me as well as most of the other people in the industry that I've talked to, they're looking for two things. Number one, like, talent. But the second thing, which is just as important, is positivity. Like, if you are amazing at what you do, but you're a jerk about it, like, no one wants to hang around you. No one wants to hire you. You may be great, but you're a jerk. There's probably 3 other people who are just as good as you, but are nicer. Yeah. So, like, those are the 2 things that I try to be, too. I try to be good at my craft, but I also just try to not to be a douche.
Yeah, exactly.
That's, like, the 2 main things. Try to be good at what you do, and don't be a jerk about it. Yeah. So, finding this family, it's been through a trial of error. I've worked with some people that I like, and I bring them back. And sometimes I've worked with people who was like, I think I'm good. Thank you for your time. Yeah. And all right, see you later. So yeah, that's kind of how I've approached assembling this team, because I don't know who said it, but someone said filmmaking is the biggest team sport, because it kind of is.
That's a good
It's every single person has their own department, and they all have to work together and communicate the same vision, even though there's 100 different people on set doing different jobs.
Definitely.
And it's crazy. And if one person is negative about it, it can kind of then the person working under them probably gets a little negative, and the person working under them gets negative. Next thing you know, you have a whole department of people in a bad mood because the guy at the top is not being very nice.
Yeah.
Because it can kind of like trickle down, as Reagan once said. Trickle down economics. Sorry.
No.
But yeah, that's what I have to say about that.
Good. No. Yeah. You elaborated. When did you start looking for people and crew?
Oh,
for your stuff?
I mean, basically,
Because that's the hardest thing for me is like finding. I mean, like I'm not looking for a whole crew for the stuff that I do,
right?
But like I'd love the people the same minded.
Right. No, yeah, same-minded people who will get what you're saying and fight for the same vision that you have. I mean, it basically, I assume, I have a feeling anyone has kind of the same origin on how they got to their crew, because my first crew was my brother.
Yeah.
My brother and my neighbor, and then it went from my brother, my neighbor, and my friend. And then it went from my brother and my two friends and his friend. And then it went my brother and a friend, and then one guy I saw on Facebook who said they liked filmmaking. And then next thing you know, slowly and surely, it stopped being about, hey, friend, can I force you to hold a boom even though you've never done it in your life? To now actually slowly and surely finding other people who are also interested in this industry, but also are still friends or making friends that way, you know? But yeah, it all started with my brother and my neighbor and forcing your friends to do things that, like my best friend who's now going into forestry was my main actor for like 5 years, and he's not even I love the guy. He's not even a good actor, and he knows it, and I love him. Yeah. But yeah, eventually it passed on from, okay, now instead of forcing you to be an actor, which you don't want to do, how would I try that one theater guy I know from high school? And then slowly and surely venturing out into having an actual cast and crew. And some of them still do consist of a friend or my brother. Yeah. And my brother still is a main collaborator of mine. He wrote the music for Moon Knight. And I thought he did a kick-ass job. Yeah. But yeah, that's basically how. And I assume you probably do it the same way.
Yeah, it's mostly my friends.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
family. And I actually learned, I mean, not to be like my story, but I actually learned, like, I had to start doing stuff on my own because my friends weren't available, whatever it was. Yes. I'm just like, I got to figure out a way. So it'd be a lot of times it was just a tripod and a camera.
Yeah, that's how you do it. I mean, you can't wait around because I want to be a director, not an editor. Yeah. But if I just waited around for an editor to magically fall on my lap, I would have never made a single movie ever. That's why I learned editing myself. Yeah. And I assume you were the same way.
I did that too. Yeah.
Yeah. And do you want to be like an editor or a director or?
I think I don't really know narrowing down it.
Right. I mean, and you don't have to know anytime soon. But like you.
But I think, I really like directing because I want to be able to show the story because I think I have like a lot of visuals that would be like perfect. Right. But I also really love editing, like that stuff that I did last night for all behind the scenes. Like I just sat there until like 1:30 in the morning. I was just doing it because like it wasn't. But it's like I love doing it. I love making it,
cutting it up, and then seeing it come together into a product. Yeah,
and I changed it because do you remember the table read?
Oh yeah,
So I filmed all of that. But
you filmed in the entirety of the table read?
Yeah, but and I just like different things, but and then I edited it all out like that, and then I was like, no, I kind of like the opening bar scene, like blah, blah,
right,
blah.
And then cutting back to I like how you did that. That was good, and you had a little whoosh sound effect. Yeah, doing things like that, and you start with a bunch of raw footage, and then you like mold it together into something else. It's a not redeeming. What's the word I'm looking for? It's a good. I don't know the word I'm looking for, but it's a rewarding. It's a rewarding process.
There you go. Yeah.
At least for me and for you.
For sure. Yeah.
It also can be terrible sometimes, you know. Yeah. At this point in my life, I'm just like, I want to shoot everything, and I want it to magically come together the way I want. I don't want to cut it up anymore. I still am. I still am my own editor. Yeah. But there was. It's like I had a. It's like editing was like my ex-girlfriend, you know? Because like when we first found each other, we were like, this is the best thing ever. And I loved being with her every second. And then slowly and surely, I was like, I've kind of had enough of you. Yeah. Go away. That's
what we told editing.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we tell Evan. Yeah. Evan is... God, what a guy.
Yeah, what a guy.
He blinked in the group photo that we took.
I was like, that's so weird.
Who does he think he is? Having the balls to blink on a group photo.
Oh, like, keep talking.
Would you blink in a group photo?
Only if I had to, you know?
There we go. Is it still rolling now?
Yeah.
Nice.
The audio is still there, so.
Good.
Yeah.
It'll just cut to a blast.
Yeah.
But yeah. Did I answer that question long-windedly enough?
Mm-hmm. No, you did good.
Good.
Yeah. I think for me, I like doing all of those things.
Yeah.
And so being on set, I was actually telling my mom this a little bit ago, and it's just hanging out with the people that you're
like-minded people.
Yes, like-minded people, and then also influence you. Like you influence me.
Yeah, exactly. Like
because,
if you surround yourself with creative people, you will just naturally get more inspired to do stuff.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. And that took a long time. Like I was telling Ben actually, I wish I would have joined like the kind of whole theater thing.
Oh yeah.
Like not necessarily maybe acting, but just like the whole theater because those people like
you're in an atmosphere of basically creative people all the time. For better or worse.
Yeah.
Theater kids are the best and the worst people
best
you'll
and
ever
the worst,
meet.
I agree.
I mean, I'm not in high school anymore, but one thing I really do miss about high school was being able to every single day surround myself with a group of people who are all creative and talk about their ideas.
Yeah.
That was one thing I still miss. And now, because I'm out of high school and I'm not in college, and I'm running my own production company, most of my days are spent alone, alone editing and alone writing, which is great, and it can be efficient that way.
Yeah.
But having collaborators or even having random people who aren't collaborators just to bounce bad ideas off of is an important thing to have.
And they also, when you collab with other people, brings something different that you might even thought of, like just total different perspective.
Having other perspectives other than your own. Getting stuck in your own perspective for long enough and having no one else to say, that's a bad idea, Cade. You can get stuck into a rut of...
oh, definitely,
some of the worst scripts out there are probably written by one guy who thinks he's great and no one told him he wasn't. Sometimes, it depends. But I feel like that happened with George Lucas' The prequels. Okay. George Lucas wrote all those prequels all by himself. It's his screenplay by George Lucas. And he had no one else. And everyone knew, it was like, oh, it's George Lucas. He got this. He didn't work with his producers. He wrote that in an empty room like, oh, yeah, this is great. Jar Jar Binks will be so good. And no one told him Jar Jar Binks will not be good.
Yeah.
He didn't have any ideas he didn't have any anyone to bounce his ideas off of. And then, it turned into the prequels.
That's That's the biggest thing for me too. When I was starting out, I was coming up with all this stuff, and I don't know how you do it now. Like if you still do it, do you do that with Joe? Like, do you bounce off ideas? Like, is he your main guy?
I mean, Joe is someone who is a friend of mine who went to high school who isn't even pursuing filmmaking, but because we are friends and we have a like-minded mentality and we like the same type of entertainment, he has become like my mega collaborator, and I now use him a lot to bounce ideas off of, and he comes up with his own ideas. And I gave him co-directing credit for Moon Knight, which is crazy because he deserves it too. I have big ego, and it took me a lot to give him that. But so that shows how good he was. What was your question though? How do I come up with ideas or what was it?
Well, I mean, I don't remember what I asked you, but I was just talking about, because for me, Brennan is the guy, he lives in North Dakota. I don't know if you've ever seen him. Yeah, but that's who I bounce off everything off. And even my friends are like, okay, you can stop talking about him. But that's what I do because it's just like, that's who's, and he's not even pursuing it either, like filming or anything, but he just has ideas, and it's just
everyone needs a guy in North Dakota.
Exactly. Yes. And that
I think it was George Washington who said that. Everyone needs a guy in North Dakota.
Yeah, and Richard Nixon also said that too.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Where was he? Yeah.
The third president of the United States.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. I actually had to think about it. I was like, wait, what?
Are you serious?
Yeah, I know. Okay, don't.
President? John Adams?
I don't know.
Let's not get into it.
Yeah. I don't really know. I don't have any. You kind of explained everything with everything. Moon Knight,
Oh yeah.
And all.
Yeah, but yeah, surround yourself with people that bounce ideas off of them. And the funny thing that I've heard a lot of times is I show someone something like, hey, can you watch this video or tell me what you think about this? And something that I hear all the time, I'm sure you've heard it too. They say their opinion and then they discredit it by saying, but I'm not a film person, so I don't know. Have you heard that before? The funny thing is, movies are not made for filmmakers.
Mm-mm.
They're made for audience members. The same way a magician isn't making magic for other magicians.
Yeah,
he's making it for the audience. So when I show it to someone, I value, not all the time, but I value what the average person thinks. And they may not know the technical explanation for why it's bad, but if they notice something is off and they tell me, I value that opinion. If I only ask other filmmakers, they might all give me some random like, yeah, that J cut was a little long and what. I think the problem was you didn't shoot it on a 50mm lens.
Yeah.
When really, some random guy at the street can just tell me, yeah, that went on for too long.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And of course, it can go either way, and you can get bad advice from a filmmaker, or you can get bad advice from an audience member. But just, asking anyone, what are your thoughts on this, is an important thing to do, and you don't have to necessarily agree with them. But yeah, I think that's a funny thing. Like, I'm no filmmaker, and I'm like, I'm not making this for filmmakers. I'm making it for people exactly like you.
Yeah.
That's something that I feel like people forget about.
It is.
Yeah, like, for example, I'm trying to think of an example.
But I understand what you're saying. You can keep thinking, but
right.
I understand what you're saying because that happens with me all the time, with especially the movie that I made for Superstar and stuff, and just regular videos. Like, I'd ask my parents, and like, well, this blah, blah, but I don't know. And I'm like, well, you do know. I mean, you guys are the main audience. Well, not my main audience, but they're an audience. Yeah,
Let's be real here. My parents are the only one watching my movies.
Exactly. But no, I was gonna
accidentally reveals that your parents are the only one watching.
Just like,
hey, same.
It's true, because it's like at first it was a lot of family.
Oh yeah.
Now it's mostly my friends and family. That's how everyone
does. I mean, whether you're doing anything, whether you're a painter, you're painting and you show it to the people sitting around you at your 8th grade desk. Those are your audience members.
Yeah.
When you're first starting out doing anything, the people who are gonna appreciate it are gonna be the people who happen to be sitting next to you or they're related to you. Yeah. And that's just how it's going to be. That's how it was for me until literally 2 years ago, I feel like. But yeah, sorry, continue.
No. What about, okay, so self-criticism is a big thing for me. Because has that ever halted?
I bet it's for you. You have a lot to criticize.
Caden! No, does that ever hold you back from making a production or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, it's yeah, it does. It's an interesting relationship I have with self-criticism, because you can do it so much to the point where you don't take any risks, and if you're not taking any risks, then you're not doing anything. Yeah. Like, I would like to try that, but I'll screw it up, so why don't I just not do anything at all and sit on my hands? That'll get you nowhere. But at the same time, if you have no self-criticism and you're just like, yeah, this is perfect, yeah, this is gonna be great, yeah, people are gonna like this no matter what, then you're gonna, that's how you write. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, throwing crap on my Microsoft Word doc. But yeah, if you have no self-criticism and you just think whatever you do is golden, then you're gonna get you're never gonna improve ever. Like, if you think you have no room for improvement, then why would you try to improve? So it's about finding that balance where you got to be realistic with yourself, but you also can't be so hard on yourself to the point where you're not willing to try risks and to try new things. Yeah. And so of course, I feel like everyone has kind of done the both sides of each, and I've kind of learned from it, and I'm still kind of learning. Sometimes where I'm like, I'm so bad. Why don't I just not even try this hard thing and I just do the same thing again,
yeah, that happens.
And I still do that sometimes. But then there's other times where I'm just like, screw you guys if you think it sucks. I think it's great, and I'm not willing to see the bigger picture because I'm so stuck in my my idea that this is good because I thought it was good, and that's the end answer. You can get stuck in that too. Back to George Lucas with Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's an interesting beast self-criticism.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I think self-criticism is super important. I'd rather have someone who's more self-critical than not self-critical enough, because that's probably someone who's going to push themselves harder and is going to make themselves improve more. If you think you're already great, then what's the incentive to get better? There is.
Yeah, that's true. Know? Yeah, you don't think about improving.
Yeah.
Do you find because you're a celebrity,
Right? I've forgotten.
Yeah. Do you find that people hold you up to a certain standard, or like won't criticize you because?
Yes. I'm glad you're asking the good questions, Cade. Most people don't ask those at all. Yeah, in a world where how do I explain this? Basically, how do I do this without criticizing the main people who support me? I am super fortunate to be in this community and family and friends and all that stuff who are so supportive and are super awesome. And basically at this point in time, if I make any short, guaranteed someone out there will tell me that it's the best thing they've ever seen. Yeah. And that is awesome, and I super appreciate it. However, it can be kind of damaging because even if I make something that's not good, I know for a fact people will tell me it's good anyway. And that's where that can start going to your head in a bad way, and then you'll never improve. So, we live in a small town. It's Coeur d'Alene. Yeah. And it's art-centered town, too. There's a lot of theaters, a lot of art galleries. It's a major art town. Yes, exactly. Yeah. And we live in a town where people are super happy to support creative people like you and I. And whenever I do a premiere, I get told all the time how this is the best thing ever, Cade. You are so much better than everyone else, blah, blah, blah. And I super appreciate it. I'm not discrediting them. They're awesome, it's a compliment. Kind people. Yeah. I'm not calling them liars. I think it's awesome. But it can, if you get told that all the time, then back to what I said before. If I think I'm now the greatest person ever, what's my motivation to improve? So I need to take that as, yes, I love your support and I love your appreciation. However, I still need to be realistic about what I think, how good the Moon Knight thing. Like, when I made Moon Knight, I'm proud of Moon Knight. Yeah. I like it a lot, but there are a lot of things I didn't like about it. And there's certain things. When we did the premiere, everyone told me it was a flawless movie. That's basically what I got. When I left there, everyone said, that movie is perfect and there's not a single thing wrong with it. That was the message I left with at the premiere. And it was awesome. Yeah. And it's super great that we get positive reception like that. Yeah. But it's instead of just being like, you know what? I think they're right. I think that is the perfect movie. I still, I have to... you have to always keep your eye. Yeah, I check myself too. Exactly.
I check myself too. Yeah. And I think there's also, what was it? There was a certain. Oh man. I just forgot it.
You're right.
No. What were we saying?
About people praising.
Yeah,
praising things and all that fun stuff.
It's about you.
I do like me.
Yeah. It was about how like you feel. Wow. Okay, I can't think
about
of
how you feel. Descriptive words.
Yes, I love it. No, dang it, dude. I threw everything off course. Okay. I'm so lost right now.
No, you're okay. But yeah, that was a good question though. No one's ever really asked me that before. Because it happens a lot. And funny thing is, the opposite end of the spectrum is the Moon Knight comments we got on YouTube. Is most of them are positive, but there are a lot of fanboy haters out there.
Oh, really?
And you can't let those get you all the way down either. Because there's 600 plus comments. Not all of those are people in our community. Most of them, I'd say 90% of them, are internet fanboys who like Moon Knight. And when someone likes a pre-existing character, they have their own idea on what Moon Knight should be. So if we took any sort of little deviation from that path, they let us know. And they are very vocal about it. And that could hurt too.
Yeah.
You know, because that was the first film I ever made with actual comments coming in from strangers online.
Yeah.
Most of my movies get 1,000 or so views, which is decent-ish, but it's not like it's not reaching the masses. This time it did, and I actually got a
How many
bunch of
views
negative.
did you end up?
How many views right now? We're almost at 150,000, I think.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, that was exciting. But yeah, there's some negative comments out there, and so I still have to take those like a grain of salt too. I can think about them. Every now and then there's a constructive criticism, like, I'll think about that. But the ones who just say you're terrible at film and you're terrible at everything in your life,
they're just mad at because of
you gotta ignore those too.
I think it's important that I don't know why I've always thought this, but like as soon as some of my videos like started getting dislikes, I was like,
right.
Yes, because then
really
because then you have that feedback of like once you have haters, you're kind of like you're making it out there and then people are seeing it. So
yeah, I mean,
I thought
any dislike you get, you're like, hey, someone who isn't a friend of mine or related to me saw the thing.
Exactly. You know? Yeah, and it's like a different audience.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, and no matter what you do, even if you make the perfect movie, there will be thousands of people out there who will hate it.
That's what it was. So no. Oh my gosh. Okay, because I just thought about it and then it left. So the perfect movie, if you made the perfect movie. Wait, can you...
Who made the perfect movie? Oh, Christopher Nolan.
No, can you... What? Can you restate what you said?
Even if you make the perfect, most flawless movie, there will still be thousands of people out there who will dislike it. That's what I say. Same with politicians, too. You can have the perfect president of the United States, and there will still be a third of the country who will hate him.
That's interesting.
That's just how it goes, you know?
Yeah.
You can't ever please every single person out there. And if you are an artist trying to please every single person out there, you will be disappointed every single time.
No doubt.
Yeah, and that's just something you got to keep in mind.
And I think like an art form is meant to be appreciated by some other people. Like it's different for everybody.
Right. If you made a movie and half the people hate it, if you made a movie and 100 people watch it and 50 of them hated it, that means 50 other people were entertained by it, and you entertained 50 people.
Yeah.
You know?
That's the way.
You got to 50 people. 50 people didn't like it. So what? You wasted, my movie, Moon Knight, was 19 minutes? You wasted 19 minutes of someone's time. And if they didn't like it, they probably didn't watch the whole thing anyway.
Yeah.
But for the people who did like it, you just entertained an audience of 50 people. You know? That's a good way to look at it, in my opinion.
Have you ever worked on a project...
Nope.
And scratched it after, and people were upset.
Oh yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yes.
Is that hard for you to scratch it, or do you think of it as this is my thing? I understand you guys were in this. I'm sorry, because it is a big thing. Because they're not wasted, but they took their time and did that.
I mean, especially when you and I right now, neither of us are paying for our cast and crew to do things. I mean, we both dream of the day when we can, and we can utilize, pay people what they're worth, and actually, because we all like the people we're working with, we think they're talented and worthy of being in a movie. That's why we want them, and it's kind of a shame that we can't pay them right now. But that being said, they're still getting stuff out of it, and it's a good both ways, and that's why they do it. But when you do something and then you cut the movie halfway through, they just spent all their time that they volunteered thinking that they were going to get a finalized product, and now they're not. It kind of feels like a waste of time.
Yeah.
You know? And I have done that twice on 2 projects.
Oh,
before.
really?
Yeah, and I'd like to say neither of them were my fault. One of them pretty much wasn't. I won't go into which one. Because they're, but yeah, it's a hard thing. I don't know the saying, but it's if you polish a turd, it's still a turd. You know? If you have something bad and you just keep shining and working along, what is this thing? It's even if you took a whole year making a piece of shit, it's still a piece of shit.
That's true. Yeah.
So just because, and that goes for anything, even if it's I spent so much time on this one shot. If the shot's not working for the story, doesn't matter how long you took to do it. No one cares how long that took to set up. At the end of the day, it's about do you need it or do you not need it? You know. So I've had to do 2 kind of decent, bigger projects. This was a couple years ago, both of them, that I had to cut halfway through because Yeah.
Mm.
And it's hard.
Yeah.
And it's sad. But it had to happen.
Yeah. I think those moments, like, not necessarily humble you, but they kind of do.
They
like,
do, yeah.
You know, they make you rethink things.
Yeah, they do. I mean, after this 50-yard slam, I was driving over here today. I was like, anything is possible.
Yeah.
Because we just made a movie in 6 minutes, and I thought it turned out pretty good.
I thought it did, too.
And we did it so quickly, and we finished it, and immediately got praise for it, because, you know, we submitted it in, and we sent it to the teams, and they all sent it to the team, and everyone said, yeah, that was great. And I drove here like, wow, I can do anything. What's the next one? You know? And those are nice days when you feel on top of the world. Like, you just, like, whenever I have to write a script, and I just, like, wrote 9 pages in an hour, and I'm like, man.
Yeah,
anything
it feels
is
good.
possible. I could write anything I want. But the days where, like, nothing is coming, or you had to cancel a project, or you're just like, things aren't working out, it's the opposite. It's like,
rough.
Should I even be doing this anymore?
I know.
Should I even be a filmmaker?
That's a hard thing for me as well. Like, there's a certain point that you get. Well, I think it comes in everybody's life or whatever. You know, not necessarily life. It's more of like a time, but for especially us, like, that make stuff, it's like you hit a wall in terms, and you're just like, I don't know. Like, is this even doing anything? Is this, like, helping?
Right. And then those are rough days. Like, especially, I was writing my feature film. The days where nothing was coming, I was just like, is this movie even going to be good?
Yeah.
Why am I even doing this?
Self-doubt.
You know, I am terrible. You know, I should just go back to ping pong.
Ping pong.
Hey, I'm good at ping pong. But yeah, but the days where you buzz everything out, you're just like, man, I could just do anything. You know, hey, George Lucas, hit me up. I don't know why I'm bringing up George Lucas so much in this podcast. Someone more relevant. J.J. Abrams. He's the new George Lucas. Yeah. The better George Lucas.
Have you seen I don't want to mispronounce his name, but he's done this 2 scary movies.
Oh, Jordan Peele.
Yes.
Yeah. He's another example of someone who had been doing comedy for years, and it was like, hey, how about I make a horror movie thriller, and then made his directorial debut with the huge hit Get Out.
That's what it was.
And now he has the movie Us coming out, which is also doing really good, I think. Did it come out? Yeah, it came out.
Yes.
And I haven't seen that yet. I have seen Get Out, though. Well, that's another example of someone who had an amazing career in comedy with his Key and Peele show, and was fantastic. I personally love him. And then he's just like, hey, how about I stretch out a different artistic muscle of mine? And then, bam.
I wonder how that even sparked.
I don't know.
Do you like horror movies?
Yeah, as a general rule.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not a huge horror movie fan per se, but there are certain horror movies that I love a lot.
Because, see, I didn't like him as, like, a younger kid, which, I mean...
Key and Peele?
No. Like, just horror movies.
Oh, horror movies. Oh, right, okay.
No, I like them.
I didn't like him.
I really like their stuff. No. But horror movies, no, I wasn't a big fan of it, but I'm just like, I was surprised on how and why you'd even take the time to make those things. Back, like, that's what I was thinking, and now that I've seen, like, just
the good ones?
and, like, just movie process in general, like, I have, what's the word for it? I have an appreciation, respect for it,
Yeah, it's, I mean, just like any movie genre, there's terrible ones out there.
Yeah.
So if you've only seen the bad horror movies, then it makes total sense that you don't like horror movies. And most horror movies, probably, I hate. Because horror movies are those things that will, like, always sell in the box office and are really cheap to make most of the time. That's why there's so many of them.
Why are they cheap to make?
Just because they're not
shot in the dark, all this.
Well, I mean, they're cheap to make because you don't have spaceships flying around. You don't have big explosions most of the time. Most of the time, it's a limited crew and a limited cast with some fake blood and knives. That's the gist of it, you know?
Have you ever written anything?
A horror movie? Yeah, I've done 2 horror-ish stuff.
Oh, okay.
One was for my senior project in high school. It was a horror movie comedy. The other one was kind of another horror-ish. And then Recursion was kind of like a sci-fi horror.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Kind of. I mean, not really. I tried.
Yeah.
But it wasn't too scary. But yeah, there's you got to find the good horror movies out there.
How did you go about writing, like, horror versus, anything else?
Yeah, I mean...
Because that's where I feel like I'd sit down and be like, I don't know what to do.
Like, yeah, I mean, I don't know, because I'm not that horror isn't a comedy that I just can't wait to jump right into because I'm not. I mean, one of the best horror people of all time is Stephen King, and Stephen King said in an article when he sits down to write something, he thinks what personally scares me, what is scary to me, and then he writes something about it, and that's how he does it. And that makes, I mean, if you're directing something that you personally think is scary, then you are going to know how to make it look scary and how you're going to make it unfold scary. You know? Like, all right, let's set up this shot. Oh!
Oh, God, I didn't know that was happening.
Yeah, but, I hate wasps, so if I were to make a horror movie using that criteria, I'd make a killer wasp movie, and then I'd, make sure the surround sound had, buzzing in the ear and stuff like that. Because I know what scares me, I would know how to make a scary wasp movie. If I was making a scary movie about werewolves, which don't really scare me, then maybe I wouldn't know how to set up a scary werewolf shot. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I feel like that's how you would approach horror. I'm trying to remember what else. There was another director who said he was trying to figure out how to craft a scary scene in this cabin, and so he turned off all the lights and spent the night in the cabin or something like that. And then looked and used that experience to tell him, okay, that cupboard was creepy when it made that noise. How would I make that into a scene? Things like that, you know?
Oh, that reminds me. Okay, so about movie, I wanted to run this by you because this happens to me all the time, and Ben, we were talking about it on set, and you get this idea of just one thing,
right?
Like in a movie, like it could just be one scene.
Right.
Have you ever written off of that? Because
yes.
Because I always think I think of this one, and I write them down, and I'm just like, oh, that would be so good. Yeah. But I don't know how you'd build a story. But that's just
right.
Me.
No, I know exactly what you mean. Like you are like, I don't know what or how or what's happening. Yeah. But a shot of a hand coming out through the dirt at nighttime, and then it blah 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 blah. You know, that type of thing. Some of the I mean, because I watch a lot of interviews with directors. Apparently that happens a lot. And Quentin Tarantino, a lot of the time,
someone told me that doesn't work, and I was just like, and then you told me that.
No, Quentin Tarantino says he comes at the ideas for certain scenes or a certain story that he thinks is amusing, but doesn't really have three dimensions to it. It's just for example, some of the best movies are about cop drama or something like that, but it's really about human existence. You know what I mean? Quentin Tarantino says he doesn't write scripts knowing that it's about this, but it's really about this. He writes a story of a bounty hunter killing people in the West, and then in the process of writing, he realizes the underlying theme. Then after writing that scene, then he goes back and adds that in. You know what I mean?
Have you seen Jumanji?
Yeah.
So that reminds me of it, because this is the first time I ever got something my brain clicked was Jumanji, because they did
the first one or the new one?
The new one.
Okay.
And they did the whole movie, whatever. But then in the end, it's because it's the story of only having one life. You only have one life. You gotta make it to the fullest. Live it to the fullest. Right.
So
that was my moment of realization. I was like, whoa.
Yeah. And when they first started, chances are probably they sat down to make a movie about a video game coming to life, and then that kind of clicked, and then they reinforced that into the story.
Have you seen the first one?
Yeah.
Okay. How similar? I haven't seen the first one. So.
The first one you gotta see. It's got Robin Williams.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it's about a board game coming to life instead of a video game. See how they
updated
for the times. Yeah, the first one's classic. It's good. It doesn't have The Rock.
Yeah.
but the new one's funny. And the old one's funny, but the old one was also a little more serious, actually.
Oh, okay.
And when I saw that when I was 10, it was scary.
Yeah.
It was a scary
No, I don't
lion.
doubt it.
The lions, it popped out. It was scary.
That's funny.
But both of them are good. And it's funny that you can bring up a movie like Jumanji, and even that can have an underlying theme or about something, because movies can be a silly action comedy, but they can still have a meaning and a purpose, you know? I
like that.
Yeah.
I like that it can do that, because it can be so many different... Also, people see it, in so many different ways.
Yes.
It's so cool.
Absolutely. I mean, there was James Gunn, the director of Guardians of the Galaxy?
I don't... I know. I've seen the movie.
Yeah, we hang out all the time.
Okay.
No, I don't know personally.
Yeah.
But he responded to someone on Twitter who was like roasting all the superhero movies coming out, and they were like, "Oh, superhero movies are such a dumb genre because they don't bring any sort of human depth to things. Superhero movies could never be about movies with explosions could never be story complex and interesting." And James Gunn was like, any story can be complex and interesting. It's just a matter of how you do it. Like, you can have a big spectacle superhero movie, but if you make it about the characters, then it can serve a bigger purpose, you know?
Yeah.
Just because there's explosions happening and the person in your scene can fly doesn't mean you have to sacrifice a meaningful story. And I was like, yeah, James Gunn, you tell her. And it really was inspiring because people, when you think, I want to tell a meaningful story, you instantly think of like, oh, the dramas or something like that. But you can tell a superhero action comedy, but if you give it heart and you give it the right characters, you can do the same thing. And chances are you'll probably reach out to a bigger audience because more people like that stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah.
Oh my God. Keep talking. I have a question for you. But it's kind of like
you laid on me
out there.
Ooh, out there.
So
there's a world full of yonder.
Ooh, just keep going. Actually, just keep.
That's from Wall-E.
Is that really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, it's probably from something else, but they sing it in Wall-E.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Does Wall-E sing it?
No.
Oh.
Yeah, it's on the TV.
Oh,
Wall-E
okay.
Eve back into his trailer.
Oh.
Yes, but it's an intense scene. There's a lot of sexual tension.
Yeah, definitely.
But
so regarding superheroes,
Mm.
right? Think about now. This is crazy, but think about how all of that like came about. Do you think there was a time where they were real? Like
superheroes?
Yeah. Think about
man.
it. How do we go from, like.
Oh man!
I know.
Okay.
It's a deep question.
Okay.
But like, if you look at all the stories, look at all the stuff that we made up. Like not like made up, but like you know what I mean.
Right. Like it came from something. You know?
Yeah,
Like,
I don't know.
It's funny you say this because Steve Morton, again, that actor we worked with, he's writing a script right now about that exact thing, but it ties into historical figures and Jesus the Messiah.
Okay.
Jesus the Messiah, according to him, and not in an offensive way. He's going to do it tastefully. But instead, whenever he wasn't the son of, I'm trying to what he said. His divine powers of like splitting bread and like parting the seas, that he has a metaphysical superhero explanation for all of that.
Oh.
And it's like Jesus was a superhero.
I see.
And people think he was the Messiah because he's like, he made the atoms denser on the surface of the water, and that's how he could walk on water and things like that.
Oh.
And people like
that's actually really. I've never even thought about that.
It's really cool, and he's got a whole
dope.
script for it. He wants me to do something with it, and he's working on it. It's a cool thing, but yeah, that kind of goes in line with what you're saying. But do I think superheroes existed? No.
Okay.
But they could.
Yeah.
I'm working on it.
No, that's fair. Fair enough.
Yeah.
That was my out of there question.
I like it though.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing stopping us from being the first superheroes, Cade.
That's true.
We just need some spandex and some a lethal amount of radiation, and we'll be good to go.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird? How it's like you have to withstand that. Like somehow they survive.
Yeah.
Something that happens.
We should make a movie where it's like an origin superhero movie, and the whole thing's leading up to it being a superhero movie, and then finally the inciting incident happens. He gets blasted with gamma radiation, and he just dies.
And
he
just
dies.
Over. Dude, that would be awesome. It's just like I wonder
your
if that
cells
do
are
good.
changing. Oh, you're just dying.
Oh,
Never mind.
Shoot. Yeah.
That was so good.
Goner.
I want,
That
an
actually-
alternate version of the Hulk where he just dies of cancer.
The
at the
build
end.
up, yeah. Oh, that would be
Terrible.
awesome. And terrible, but that would be really
man.
funny.
I'd watch it.
I'd watch
It'd
it.
be a lot shorter.
Yeah.
And also a smaller budget. So let's do it.
There you go. We could.
Oh my god, that'd be good. That would be good.
awesome.
But yeah. Any other questions?
I don't believe so. You answered. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Cade.
No problem.
Yeah, this was fun. Nice talking to you about about myself. Gotta inflate my ego.
Gotta get yourself. Yeah. Actually, Caden's Instagram and his studio Instagram will be down below, as well as your Twitter.
Oh, thanks. Oh, yeah, you don't have to lose the Twitter. My Twitter is dead. My Twitter is so dead. Yeah.
But I keep it down there.
People just don't even. What Twitter? Do I have a Twitter?
Dude, I should link your Facebook down there.
Oh yeah, you can leave Facebook.
I'll link the
Paradox
Facebook
Studios website too.
Yep.
If you're watching this locally or not locally and you want a commercial, hit me up. You know. Yeah.
And then like split pay him.
Right. Okay. Yeah. A referral fee.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You know what? If you give me some clients, through this, yeah, that's a good.
So go to Caden, website, whatever it is, and then tell him Cade sent you.
Right. Yeah. I'll leave a little box for them to do that. But yeah. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. It was fun.
It was awesome. Is there any way, usually my guests, they like to end it. They know my outro song, but since you do not, is there anything that you...
What is it? It's like, timeless is a fun thing. I don't know.
That's pretty close.
Wait, is it actually?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, it's a total
good.
opposite song.
Okay, let's hear it.
But post. But so, we can just end with a bang. Wait, actually, hold on. Subscribe if you're new. Sorry, I totally forgot about this. Subscribe if you're new. Again, thanking Caden for coming on here. Leave a like down below if you liked it. Share this with everybody that you can so Caden can get out there, as well as me. And we're just making a living doing what we love.
Yeah. Or
that was
someday
a great
we will.
title. Yeah, someday we will. That's true. That's true.
Sweet.
Okay, let's end it.
Let's end it in a good high five. Ready?
Okay.
3, 2, 1.
You just lead us up to me. I can show you my world. We can go through it all.